I think the big lesson that if there's a silver lining in this pandemic, it's reminding us that control is an illusion before the coronavirus and during and after. It's just when we have our routine that we work out, we have this illusion of our life being in control, but what goes on around us, we really can't. We only can learn to control our reaction to it. So this is a good training grounds for going on with responding to the inevitable changes and challenges of life in a more easeful way.
Living in a stressful world doesn't mean you have to give up on happiness. Instead, you can shift your perspective of stress and discover how to live your life in flow. Welcome to Happified. I'm your host, Susi Vine. Join me for inspiration and interviews with folks who are shining their light in the world in the areas of positive mindset, health, and wellness. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hey there, friends. Are you looking for tools to resolve stress? Reliable information to support your whole health? Tips to help you motivate yourself and identify when motivation is fading before it happens? Implementation, accountability, and someone to remind you to celebrate even the small successes. We live in a world of information and health gurus, biohackers, and overachievers. But just because we have the access to countless one thing you need to know right now tips doesn't make it easier to size them up and understands which ones will work for you. What if there was one place where you could find tools you can use and accountability in a community that cheers you on, where information about health trends and lifestyle is reliable and straightforward, where you don't need to invest hours of your time, just 15 minutes a week. More if you want to take advantage of recorded meditations to keep you centered and create the space to really integrate your mindset and lifestyle upgrades. Are you ready to see what change you can create in your energy level and improve your mood? Ready to discover that stress isn't your enemy and could even become your secret weapon to leverage your success? The Velocity membership is designed to give you the support you are looking for, along with community and tools you can use today to restore your vitality and resilient health. I'm Susi, host of the Happified podcast, a stress resolution coach, and your new cheerleader. I know that you have what it takes to up-level your health habits and restore your resilience. You just might need a boost to start building momentum. I've designed a membership where you can choose the level of support you'd like to get every month, whether it's tuning in to connect with like-minded change makers or getting personalized support with one-on-one coaching to help you chart your path to success. Check out the link for the Velocity membership at happifiedlife.com. Special pre-launch pricing is now available for premium support, but you can jump in for free if you just want to test the waters. I look forward to seeing you inside.
All right, everyone. I'm so happy to be back today with a fantastic guest to join the conversation. Heather Donaldson is joining us today from Costa Rica. Heather, thank you so much for joining me.
It's my pleasure, Susi.
So we might hear a little bit of wildlife, some tropical birds in the background. So I just think it's a beautiful accompaniment to our podcast today. So Heather Donaldson, I would love to introduce you. She has been referred to as a midwife of emotions, which are hindering more than helping. And so that's why I'm really excited to have her here today to join in the conversation about how we can navigate the aspects of emotional stress, which is one component of several that you know that I love to address. So Heather's going to give us some input from her years of experience, and today, as a special part of our conversation, she'll be explaining a bit about EFT tapping and leave us with some simple tapping tools for quick calm on demand. So stay tuned with us. We're going to wrap up today with a tapping script that's going to be really, really powerful to help you shift some of the stressful feelings that we're navigating right now in these trying times. Heather has a unique and diverse expertise in helping others, including herself, to live more easefully, joyfully, and peacefully. She currently works from the beaches of Costa Rica, where she connects online with people around the globe. While running a professional shiatsu and massage therapy business, she created the unique Roots EFT, which is emotional freedom technique to transform her clients' inner gardens. Working with the popular technique alone or as an add-on, Heather has a gift for tuning in deeply to what each person truly needs. Over time, she has developed a specialty for guiding men and women to create more intimacy in their lives, beginning with the alleviating stress and then building on skills needed to nurture epic relationships. On the same topic, she has published a book, How to Grow a Beautiful Relationship. She hosts workshops and retreats, now online, in addition to offering private sessions online or in person. Soon to be launched is her intimacy games where people have fun getting closer. And hopefully we'll have some time to talk about that, but I have a feeling we're just going to have to resume this conversation another time so we can really dig in on that aspect of her work. Some of her unique creations and a link to sample them or to book a full session can currently be found at her website, which is going to be listed in the show notes. So be sure to take a look at that. So I'd love to dive right in, Heather, since we've got a lot that we want to cover today. Right now, what I'm hearing people struggle with as we're still dealing with this COVID pandemic that we thought would be lifting, but we're looking at some more time, with these extra precautions in place. And so one of the things that I see people really struggling with is a feeling of overwhelm as things keep shifting and we think we're going to be coming back to normal, and then normal keeps kind of changing on the horizon. So that insecurity also, I think, is an aspect of some of the stress. How are you finding that to be the case as you're working with people?
Mm-hmm. This insecurity, focus on what's around me and focus on what I'm hearing from Susi and what's in my mind. Choosing to release my emotional reaction, my feeling of frustration, because it's something I can't change, something unexpected, like the coronavirus. And that's what we're tapping on after all, is our reaction to the unknown. I wonder if I can let go of this feeling of frustration and focus with ease, trusting that it will end. And this will go with ease. The very last thing you said was getting me to think something about a discomfort or dis-ease or something like that was the last words that you were using with all that's been happening. And I mean, the words that I had used were like stress and overwhelm. But I like what you said too, the kind of feeling a kind of a dis-ease with it all. That's good too.
Yeah, the insecurity of
insecurity.
being able to navigate back to new normal. Was that kind of where I ended up taking us?
Okay. So yeah, insecurity meaning it's something new that it's different. It's not the old way. That they're feeling like, they're not having the comfort with the familiar. It's the opposite. It's a discomfort or dis-ease with the unfamiliar.
Yes. Yeah, with that uncertainty, maybe is a better word or more accurate than insecurity. So let me begin by asking something that we've been talking about is how overwhelm can be an aspect of stress, or certainly exacerbate our stress as we're navigating how things have changed in this time of the pandemic, and people are feeling more insecure or uncertain in how we're going to be coming back to normal, or what this new normal is going to be looking like.
Absolutely, Susie. I think you nailed that, how people are being affected now even more because of the duration. It's been 5 months that things have been different and scary, and I think you talk about stress, overwhelm. They're kind of the same thing. And you mentioned emotional stress. I think in the common use of the term stress, it's all emotional. Stress is a collection of emotions. It's like fear, it's like worry, it's maybe a bit of sadness because we've lost, it seems like we've lost, well, for 5 months anyways, the way things were, and maybe they'll never be the same again. Probably not. Personally, I don't think it's a whole new life. I think it just might be the life with mass, or the life with a little bit more online, which we were heading there anyways. But people tend to react to things as if it were a little more scary than in reality it is, or it needs to be. And stress is our reaction to what is. And when we react as if there are tigers out there, as opposed to a virus that, yes, it's killing a small percentage of people, like a lot of things are, like the flu virus is. So yes, it's dangerous in that way. But like the situation with the tigers, we stay away from them and we don't worry about it, right? And the closest we get is at the zoo, and they're not going to attack us, and we know it. So so basically we can create the same scenario with the coronavirus, and we shouldn't have to be on guard. The only time you really need to have your adrenaline going and your cortisol going, where it really makes sense, it's really vital to have that, is when you really are confronted suddenly with a tiger and you got to run away or kill it or something. That takes a lot of energy, and you need that stress hormone. But when you have those stress hormones floating around in your system on a constant basis, which I think was happening to a lot of people in this busy world with all the technology that we're trying to keep up with, that the stress hormones, or the reaction to things that creates those hormones, has been quite pervasive even before the pandemic. Women that are dealing with all the demands at home, and also a lot of them are building, like myself and you, building businesses and working outside of the home. And this has been an ongoing thing, that women have a lot of demands, and they feel stressed. But it may be even worse during the pandemic because of the time, because of all the changes that have been introduced, like having your children at home, having your partner at home. They all might sound good at the beginning, but they are major changes, and humans react to major changes by kind of freaking out and not feeling comfortable, and not enjoying their lives as much as they'd like to. So that's why I think it's more important with this unique stress, and also the fact that it's uncertain where it's going, how long it's going to be for. There's all this uncertainty, and we can't just, hug our friends to feel better. We've got this separation, this social separation. So our usual supports are being taken away, more or less. So all of that makes it more challenging. Do you agree with that, about the more challenging now?
I definitely do, on a lot of the points that you've just covered, because I think that we, as a whole, tend to be creatures of habit. I mean, some of us thrive on spontaneity and changes in our daily life, but many of us find those changes, especially when they're unexpected, just kind of raise our stress level. And so in reaction to that, just like you're saying, I love that example. We needed a stressful reaction to respond to very specific incidents. And that biological part of our brain hasn't caught up with the way that our lifestyles have totally changed. So now we're responding with that same kind of stressful response to little innocuous things like the phone is ringing when we're trying to get something done, or the boss shows up at our desk and adds one more thing to the list when you think that you're coasting into the finish line, or all of these other things that we tend to keep a more constant level of stress. Just like you're saying, we need to recover from that so we can be more resilient. We keep working at the high level and these stress hormones are just flooding our systems all the time. And it's really hard to counter that when stress has got the wheel.
So when we think about it, I think the big lesson that if there's a silver lining in this pandemic, it's reminding us that control is an illusion before the coronavirus and during and after. It's just when we have our routine that we work out, we have this illusion of our life being in control, but what goes on around us, we really can't. We only can learn to control our reaction to it. So this is a good training grounds for going on with, responding to the inevitable changes and challenges of life in a more easeful way. So given that we're not in control and we have to learn to control, I mean, I've learned, and maybe you have, to deal with a lot of uncertainty being a solopreneur. And there's a lot, I don't know if my marketing strategies will work, how much money I will make. Before I was working for government and I didn't have to worry about that. So I've grown accustomed to a certain amount. So I think anyone can grow accustomed. That's why this wasn't such a big deal for me. And because I was in Costa Rica, I was actually more relaxed during this pandemic, which sounds really strange, but it's true. And I didn't glue myself to the news to have, that information. It doesn't have a calming effect on your system, to say the least. You have to be responsible. You have to respond and take the precautions. But how you feel about all that and how calm and optimistic you can be, that's the key. And I think there's opportunities for, well, first of all, finding the calm. And also when you are in that more functional state, there are lots of opportunities with this extra time that we can follow up on and make this a really good time in our lives, actually. So that's what I've been doing. I've taken this time to tune up my body, to do a lot of things online that I've been waiting to do, we can still go outside, be more in touch with nature. That's very therapeutic. And anyone can find ways to do that, but they first need to kind of tap down their system. And that's why I was going to offer some tapping, which reduces the intensities of these emotions, which are stopping you from getting on board and making the best of the time we have. And it is likely to continue that we'll have some restrictions in our ability, or even if it's recommended to go out. So that's where the EFT comes in, emotional freedom technique. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's a quick calming on demand. So if you're going into a situation, or say you've had a stressful time with your children at home, or you tried to be the teacher and you realized you didn't even know what your child is learning in school, something like that, and you just want to calm your system down. It's kind of like a combination between traditional talk therapy, because you're using words, you're giving voice to what you're feeling, although not as elaborate as counseling. And at the same time, you are calming your nervous system with a gentle tapping. And these are points that correspond to all the emotions that are uncomfortable in excess, like anger and fear and sadness and so on. Guilt. Maybe you feel guilty because you're not being a good enough teacher for your child or something like that. So that how it works, we know it works. That's a given. There's a lot of over 100 studies in peer-reviewed journals, and some of them are the kind of reviews that look at all the research out there and then make a statement. And that statement is that this technique surpasses, almost doubles the effectiveness of anything else that's out there that they compared it with, like talk therapy and meditation and yoga. And all those things reduce your cortisol, your stress levels, physiological indicators in your body by some degree, but this just powers it up more. And so we know it does that, but how it does that, they're just elucidating the mechanisms as time goes on. But what we do know is that there are physical changes and permanent changes in the brain. That's the really, really good news. And also that you can change your DNA. So a person that's normally very high stress can become a calmer person. A person that normally looks at the world very negatively in a negative frame, they change their frame to a more positive one without a lot of work. It's just happening naturally because there's some rewiring that goes on with this technique that makes you less likely to be triggered by those small things. And if you are, you can use the technique to get that calm on demand. But when you work with someone who's trained like myself to go a little deeper to the core beliefs that we might not even be aware of, that cause us to be reactive, then you won't have to use it on your own as often because you won't get triggered as often. So it's a very powerful technique to give you permanent and lasting changes that will carry over beyond the pandemic. So I think that's a good intro into it. Why are some people say, what's wrong with those emotions? They're just normal. That's, I don't know, I kind of wanted to address that. But again, I think I mentioned it earlier, yes, they're normal, but it's a matter of degree. When those emotions of fear and anxiety are disproportionate with what they need to be, then there's room for improvement. And it can be harmful to the body on an ongoing basis. As I mentioned, all kinds of chronic illness, all kinds are related to having ongoing stress reactions to our life. And when we're at that level of high stress, we might blow up and hurt our work, hurt our productivity, hurt our relationships with our children, with our spouse, with our partners, with our friends. So there's a lot of value in decreasing your stress level. So if you had any more questions about that, or else we could get into a tapping session. I don't know how we're doing.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be able to share this, because what I really love about tapping is everything that you just said. All of those aspects, that there's so much power in taking control of our emotions. We tend to feel like they're just going to do what they're going to do. And the more we recognize that we can choose our mood, and just like you say, like it's not that we want to block emotions that are quote unquote bad or inappropriate. What we do when we're not honest or authentic about them is we tend to stuff them, and then they come up back around at inappropriate times, or with more, strength or difficulty, or like you're saying, they can manifest as disease or pain and so many other aspects. So to having this kind of tool that, as you compare it to talk therapy and other modalities where you're working with a practitioner, once you understand the technique and you've had some sessions with a practitioner to really help you zero in on some specific issues, this is a tool you can use yourself. Like moving forward in any situation at any given point, you just need your hands and your presence and awareness. And so I think it's such a powerful tool. And so that's why I was so happy to have you share this with us.
Absolutely. And as we go into showing it to you, it may look a little strange if you haven't done it before, but I just want to preface by saying, because you said about you can use it anytime, it's true, even in public. I do it all the time, anywhere, anytime. You can do it in a more subtle way, because touching these points is kind of, I'm doing it right now, natural gestures that we make, you know. And I just touched all the tapping points, and you didn't know I was tapping. You can just do a touch and hold, so it's not looking as strange with the actual tapping. Or, you know, when I'm lazy in the morning and I want to do some tapping, I wake up, something's bothering me, I just imagine. And I've got such a clear pathway in my brain that it energetically, I mean, it's all about the energy in these meridians, and letting it flow, you know, releasing in those points and then letting the energy flow. It's emotional energy. Everything is energy. Emotions are energy, thoughts are energy, and you want to balance it out so it has a nice flow. But you can do that even by just imagining. So I wouldn't worry about it looking funny. There's so many people doing it now that they say, hey, somebody else is doing it, and you feel like you're not alone. So maybe I should go over what that technique, the points and so on. Perfect. And then I can walk you through a script. So yeah, there's 8 points, and the first ones, they're just all around the, I don't know if I should take my glasses off, you can see better. They're all around the eye sockets. So the eyebrow points are at the end of the eyebrow where it meets the bridge of the nose on the bony ridge around your eye. So just these points. You can do one or the other, or both sides. People like to do both sides. Side of the eye, just on the bony ridge again. And under the eye, also on the bony ridge, maybe under your pupil. Of course, you can't see your pupil, so it doesn't have to be exact anyways. Just wake up the energy in those meridians. Under the nose, in the middle, on the chin, in the middle. And then I guess you can see my collarbones here. It's under the collarbones and beside the breastbone. So in the fleshy part, don't tap on your bones. It doesn't feel good. And this you can use with more fingers. The delicate areas, you just use 1 or 2. And then under arm is where your bra strap would be. You guys know where that is too, about 4 inches below your armpit. You can tap on there. There's the monkey one, or you can cross over and do it that way. But if you're really big, you can't make it. And then top of your head. And that's really the top of your head. If you draw it from your ears, there's a middle point. And that's it. When you start out, though, we do a setup. This setup point is called the karate chop. If I was going to do a karate chop, it's on the pinky side. That's where I would strike. So just wake up that point. It's the setup. It's the first one that you do. It's not 100% necessary in every case, but we do it anyways. It's basically saying that even though I have what I have, like this anger, this stress, this overwhelm, this feeling like there's not enough time, that's what we're going to tap on. I still love myself. I absolutely love and accept my true self. That this feeling has nothing to do with who I am. It's just my reaction. And you know, I'd like to say about our reactions that our emotions, we can be friendly with them because they're our way of trying to help ourselves. It's the only way we know how. Maybe it's not the best or the most effective, but we can learn other ways, like the tapping. So, you know, give ourselves a break. That's what it is, so that we're not beating ourselves up, and we can go ahead and go right into those emotions. And going into those emotions, like you were saying, we tend to stuff them. But I use the analogy again of house cleaning. If you're going to clean your house, you have to move the furniture and look behind, look deep, and find the dust. And that's not that pleasant, but once you clean it, it feels really great and it looks great. So that's kind of the motivation for doing this.
Terrific.
You might want to start out and give a rating, like, so you can see if there's a change. It's just your numbers, like on a scale of 0 to 10. How overwhelmed do you feel with all of this that's going on? How strong is it could be a feeling in your body, like of maybe tensing up, or maybe your breath when you think about all the demands. And I think I had some, oh yeah, I'm just looking for a script that I wrote out for you guys, so I won't go on forever. But basically, yeah, that we're overwhelmed with all the demands, and there isn't enough time. Even though there is time, you might have that feeling that you're not getting things done well enough, or you're not getting to things the way you should. So if you can rate on a scale of 0 to 10, how strong, how intense that emotion. 0 is nothing, 10 is your highest, and give it a ranking. And just to remind you, that belief that there isn't enough time, it's a judgment, and it tends to create what we fear, that we won't get things done. And it's just a belief. And if we set some boundaries and release that belief, we probably could get things done, get more focused and more functional, and act more powerfully and more efficiently. So how does that overwhelm feel in your body? So in the setup, you tap on the side of your hand and repeat after me. Even though I'm feeling really overwhelmed with this pandemic. I'm feeling really overwhelmed with all these changes and all these demands to do things differently and do different things than I did before. Everything's all topsy-turvy, and it feels overwhelming, all this change. And even though I have this feeling of overwhelm, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. You could do the other side if you want. We do it a couple times to let it sink in. Even though I feel this overwhelm, this tightening in my muscles, or however I feel it in my body, and I may not need to react this way, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And I accept that I'm doing the best I know how. Okay, so then you start with the points. So it would be the eyebrow point. I'm honoring how I feel. Sometimes it feels out of control. Everything keeps changing. It's so unpredictable. And I'm trying to figure out so much. And that feels like pressure. It doesn't feel comfortable not knowing. And being forced to do things that I didn't choose to do. So many new challenges, like online stuff, and how to spend more time with my husband at home, or the kids at home. Truth is, we never have complete control of what goes on around us. But my familiar routine feels safer. Well, I should be calling out these points, sorry. I think we did the side of the eye, under the nose, and the chin point. And you just need to tap a few times, go with my rhythm, I guess, so you might have your own rhythm. The truth is, we are safe right now. And you can tap on the collarbone points, underneath the collarbone. But what's happening in the world feels scary to me. And then underarm, side of the body. I don't know how I'm going to keep up with this and find the time to relax too. It's hard on me. I need time to relax, but I don't seem to be getting it. And then the top of the head feels like it's all up to me. Too much responsibility. It feels like I'll never be able to manage with this new normal. And I don't want to either. And that's at the top of the head. And then you can stop and take a deep breath and let it go. And feel free to make noise when you breathe. It's releasing more. That's all part of it, just balancing out your energy. I'm going to do a couple more, but that one was about all this pressure and this feeling of overwhelm in your body, acknowledging what you're feeling. That's how you start out. Then later on, you can get into changing it. People like to do affirmations, but you can't just jump right into affirmations. It's like a battle, because these emotions, they don't want to go away. Your body, your subconscious thinks that those emotions are there to protect you. That's a little misguided, but subconscious isn't that smart, but it's powerful. So you've got to slowly convince it. The tapping helps to calm the system and convince your subconscious mind that this new normal, this letting go a little bit, is fine, that you're going to be safe. Safe to let go of your tension, of the overwhelmed feeling. So how does that feel in your body now? Maybe you want to give it a different number. That was just the first round. We'll do one or two more depending on how much time.
Yeah, that's terrific. And I want to say too, just through tapping through that first sequence and without saying the words, and I do think that speaking really helps to move the energy, but even without that, I noticed I was sighing, I was yawning, I have some tears flowing, and those are all ways that I've recognized that my body moves energy.
Wow.
So you can really feel the energy start freeing up with the first round.
Oh, that's great. I hope others are experiencing the same, because all of those are clear indications that your emotional energy is shifting. So let's shift some more. So start out with the setup again. Even though I may still feel some of this reaction in my body, this protective reaction, my body's in high alert, tensing up, maybe affecting my breath or constricting my muscles, and certainly flooding my brain with emotions that don't allow me to function well. Sorry, you don't have to repeat all that. Even though I'm overwhelmed, but still, I accept myself and how I feel. Okay, so let's get right into tapping on the eyebrow point. I really want to change this side of the eye. I'm willing. What if I could find some relief under the eye? What if I could find a way to give myself a relaxation break so I can manage these changes with more calm? I'm ready to find a way to feel calm, real calm. And then under the nose, I'm willing to release this pressure, this reaction to all this change and uncertainty, which is inevitable in life, but a little more lately. On the chin, the universe is really testing me. I know I would be more effective dealing with all this from a calmer place. When I let go of the pressure, I have more resources, more creative, and more patience. Under the collarbone, I'm choosing now to release this overwhelm and pressure on myself. Wherever I'm holding it, in my brain, in my heart, in my muscles, in my breath, in every cell of my body, I'm releasing this so I can let in some ease. Under the arm, feeling calmer gives me more choices, more freedom to respond rather than react. I'm choosing to breathe deeply. I'm letting go of all this stress wherever I'm holding it, wherever I've learned to react this way. On top of the head, I'm allowing myself to feel calm now, to feel how safe I am, to feel how adequate I am doing my best. Allowing myself to love more freely. With a relaxed and calm mind, I can let that flow. When I'm calm, time is on my side. And take a deep breath in again. And let it go. Okay. So there you're getting more into releasing. Choosing to release. That it's okay to release. And I have one more that we could do. But I think if we check, I hope we did the deep breath at the end, did we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can always do another one. Choosing to breathe more deeply, letting go, teaching my body how to relax. Yeah, we did all that. Yeah, so I don't know, where are you at right now, Susie? What number are you at?
Oh gosh, I think I probably came down from, it was interesting. I didn't really land on a number before we started, but I would say it probably came down from a 6 to like a 3.5. Like it's really shifted a lot after 2 rounds.
Okay, so I think usually when people get, this is a bit of an education about how it works, like when you get down to about a 2 or a 3, then you're getting into your core beliefs, the ones where it comes from, this reaction, that the part of you that in a general way feels like somehow you're not enough or you're not safe. And that often comes from experiences in your life when you're 0 to 5 years. And it's so common and it's so sad that people are going around limiting themselves in their lives because this program is running in the background. It's simply not true. But somehow they came to this program or story about themselves because they're reacting in the mind of a 2-year-old or 3-year-old or 4-year-old or 5-year-old. Maybe some little thing their parents said to them and they just said, oh, well, I'm not good enough. I have to work so hard and I'm still not going to feel good enough. So maybe we can work a little more on some of those beliefs and feelings in a final round. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay, so just a quick setup again, even though I still have some of this feeling of overwhelm, wherever it came from, wherever I learned to believe that I'm not doing quite good enough, that I have to do more, that my best isn't good enough, wherever I learned that I'm not quite safe. I'm remembering that I am safe. I'm remembering that I'm not going to die. I'm remembering that I am lovable. And I'm choosing to release my old story and go back to the truth about myself. The true story about myself. And I do love and accept my true self. Deeply and completely. So let's start with the tapping points. I'm choosing to release all these ways that I put pressure on myself. Side of the eye, wherever I learned I'm not a good enough person, and I'm saying I'm not a good enough wife or not doing good enough with teaching my children during the pandemic, keeping calm. I'm accepting, and under the eye, accepting my true lovable self now, knowing I can always give love to myself and them when I feel calm and confident. Under the nose, knowing all is well. Humans are adaptable and there's life after COVID. on the chin, releasing any thoughts of the future, worries about the future, memories of the past that are putting pressure on me. Collarbone, letting go of those remaining emotions and feelings of, allowing feelings of safety in my body, feeling relaxed in my body, letting the pressure on myself go. And even though I have so much to do, if I step back, prioritize, set some boundaries, maybe I can handle this and make the most of the time I have without it wearing me out. Under the arm, there may be enough time if I'm grounded and focused. My money situation, my career situation, my personal situation, I can get it in order if I stop spinning my wheels. I'm going to do one more round. I am moving forward. I'm starting to now. I'm able to now. I'm not exhausting myself by just spinning my wheels. I'm taking a breather, and then I'm going to get things done one at a time. It's not too much, even if it felt like too much. I'm considering the possibility that there's enough time because I say so. It's enough. One thing at a time, checking off my list. I'm not stuck in these anxious, frustrated feelings, so I have more energy. One step closer to my goal. I can focus on taking care of myself and touching other people's lives to do what matters. Plenty of time and energy for that. I'm allowing energy for that. And I'm allowing the universe to help me, and trusting the universe to help me, or God, or whatever you call the higher powers that be. And I'm choosing peace now with whatever is now. One more deep breath in. Let it all go. Okay, I think I got to the end of my script I had for you. It's a little more elaboration.
How's that terrific.
Susie? Are you down closer to zero now? I love zeros, by the way.
I do think so. Yeah, I definitely feel like it's cleared a lot. Some more sighs and yawns and moving things out. So that was perfect because I really loved how we started with, what's going on right now. But, as you've experienced and as we discover, like there's so many layers to work through. And so that's really the beauty of being able to drop in and take time and explore and pull these out by the root. Say they're not serving us.
Yeah, one of the reasons I like doing these interviews, including tapping, is because I feel better after as well.
I know it's an incredible, from the very first time I experienced it myself, it's the most incredible body buzz, if I'm just going to really briefly describe it. Like you just feel your energy flowing, and it's a perfect demonstration, if you haven't experienced acupuncture or shiatsu, of how powerful the meridians are. These energy channels they're measurable now. Science is finally catching up on all this ancient wisdom. So it's great to take advantage of this that we have at our fingertips.
Yes. And this is just a modern version of what the ancients have been doing anyways for millennia. They touch points and massage each other and to balance out their energy. And they look at it as mind body, not as separate, but as one. And that's the energy connects it all. So, yeah, a lot of people say they feel like a weight is lifted off their shoulders. They feel lighter and freer. And that's why they call it emotional freedom technique. And you are free to, if you're free of those emotions, then you're free to flow more, to, get through this in a way with more ease and maybe a little more productivity when you're not distracted by those stress emotions. And
Yes.
certainly healthier. Oh, and the other thing is, by reducing your stress, neither of us mentioned this, but of course, a healthy immune system is going to help you to, if you do encounter the virus, God forbid, but that your immune system would be able to fight it better, so it wouldn't be as serious symptoms. So
exactly.
That's another benefit of tapping. So yeah, you've mentioned how people can find me. I guess you're going to be sharing the link for the website, and they can set up a session where I am offering that, where they can sample it individually with me, and during a 30-minute session where they will get some dropping of intensity of whatever's specifically disturbing them about this time or their relationships. I do have some specialty in that area as well. And then I can tell them from there where they could go further to make sure that they get to those zeros and reprogram their core beliefs, so they'll be sailing past the pandemic.
Beautiful. Absolutely. We're going to have that link in the show notes and anywhere where I share our conversation today, so that they can take advantage of that. Because we've already gotten to experience how much things can shift just with like a generalized, this is what's going on in the world script. So if you're really connecting with what's going on for you personally, you can imagine how much more freeing and enlightening that can be. So terrific. Thank you so much for making that available. I appreciate that. And I've really, really enjoyed our conversation. And I know that we're going to be resuming it soon, because whether or not stress is, kind of forefront, relationships are their own animal, and we want to be fresh and bring the best of ourselves to our relationships. So I'm excited to continue our conversation and talk about the work that you're doing and exploring there too. So we'll be back soon.
Yes, I have more in my toolkit for the relationship issues. So I'll be happy to join you for that later. And it's been a pleasure.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Heather. Enjoy the beautiful paradise of Costa Rica. I'm glad you found a safe and happy little place to hunker down. We'll hope to talk to you again soon.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in today. Check out the show notes for any links we mentioned. To learn more about living life with less stress and more flow, visit happifiedlife.com. And if you found value in today's episode, make sure you subscribe to catch the next one, and leave a review to help fellow pod surfers find Happified. Until next time, keep on shining.